I think it got something to do with money, you know. Now, when he went into the first fight, okay, when he had the fight with Lamont Roach, before the fight, he wasn't himself, wasn't in his right mind mentally. He was going through a lot, you know, even through training camp, right? It was a hard training camp. Um, he wasn't preparing like he normally do to get himself, 100%, you know, physically and mentally. But when you're dealing with boxing, boxing is 90% mental game. You know, and I believe that's the reason why he got the draw with Lamont Roach. If Tank Davis was fully 100% mentally, there, wasn't going through so much, and he wasn't there physically either, you know, because he didn't do the proper training, like he should have. He slacked a little bit in his training camp before he fought Lamont Roach. I think he would have beat Lamont Roach, if everything was 100%, at least I would say 95%, you know. Tank Davis, that wasn't him that night, you know. It wasn't him that night. Even the power wasn't all the way there when he was fighting Lamont Roach, right? But he was saying all this before he even fought Lamont Roach. He didn't really want to fight him, sort of forced to fight him. He didn't like the pay they was giving him, the upfront money he get, the guaranteed money. But he went into the fight anyways, you know. So he get the draw, and he know he's supposed to give us this rematch. He even said it, after the first fight. I keep saying the first fight like it was a rematch. He said it after, he fought Lamont Roach in the press conference, right? Like he was like, this looked like I'm gonna have to stick around a little longer. He understood like he got to go into this rematch, and he know what it takes and what he got to do to beat Lamont Roach in the rematch. But he's going through, what's going on is what's going on is life distractions, right? Life distractions. The same thing Tank Davis was going through before the fight with Lamont Roach. I believe he's going through it now. Things with family, kids, um, baby mothers, females, girlfriends. I believe, that's what's basically going on now. That's keeping him unfocused, and other things that he want to do in life. I truly believe he do want to get to other things in life. Don't want to keep boxing. But I think what got Tank up out of it is life issues. Life be lifing, right? Life be lifing. And the reason why we not, seeing this rematch, I believe, because of the pay, right? PBC don't have the money. Whoever's running it now, it's not Al Heyman. So he can't work with Al Heyman like he used to, working with Al Heyman, because when he's with Al Heyman, he can call most of the shots. He can call most of the shots, you know, in setting up his fights, right? So word on the curve is Al Heyman is not controlling PBC, is not, in control of PBC anymore. I don't know if he still own it or, what's going on. But, him not being with Al Heyman, he can't get Baby no more, not through these other promoters, right? So in the rematch, I believe that he don't want to take the guaranteed upfront money. I think they kind of like lowballing him, right? And he don't want to take it. Even though the fight gonna sell, he know that, do numbers, right? But maybe he don't want to take the risk for the pay because lately PBC, haven't been, they fights have, they fights haven't been doing what they want them to do. They haven't been successful with the sales and all that. They've been flopping, right? So I believe the rematch, him and Lamont Roach will do numbers. But when you in boxing, when you're a boxer, that's the risk you have to take. You can take the guaranteed upfront money, but ain't no telling how the back end money gonna land. But everybody in the world should know, even Tank, the rematch will sell. So whoever gonna pick up the rematch and give him the money that he want, maybe he'll do it. This is why I think, what's going on with him saying, the news out he's retiring and all that. And the reason why the rematch is not happening. Now, if he want a certain amount of money to do this rematch, Turkey will give it to him, right? The Prince Turkey, Saudi Arabia. But the thing is, y'all, he don't want to work with him. He don't want to take the man money, right? So I don't know who's gonna pick up, this fight, this rematch, Tank Davis and Lamont Roach. Tank Davis basically is a free agent. People don't know that. He can do what he want to do because Al Heyman is not going to make him fight. He's not going to force him to do anything. I'm telling y'all right now. He's a free agent. He can do what he want to do. Because of the relationship him and Al Heyman have, he understand, Tank want a big payday. He don't want to work with Turkey. Turkey will probably give him the money he asking for, right? To do this rematch. Maybe somebody else out there will pick up the rematch. So I believe that's why, we not, seeing the rematch and why why he's saying he's about to retire or something like that. I think it's somewhat true. And also life distractions, the things that he's going through. He might want to just take a break and get things straightened out in his life. So it's like he'd rather sit out and see if he's going to get the Jake Paul fight. Right? He'll retire, but the Jake Paul fight, just a exhibition type of fight, is not going to be, something counting to their record, but it's going to be a big payday.